Granna's Garden Vietnam Series War Remnant Museum, Ho Chi Minh, or in Saigon. Vietnam War was in from November 1955 to April 1975. And in retrospect, the Korean War was in June 1950 to July 1953. And so I was going to say that I was born in 1964 and I was a child while this war was going on. And I was isolated. I didn't know exactly how it was affecting the people, the world around me, but so when I went over there to the museum, it was quite fascinating because I've always been fascinated with the Vietnam War. When I was a child, my birth father, or my father that wasn't my birth father, he was on my birth certificate. He went to Vietnam and he had brought home some trinkets from Vietnam for us because he was in the Vietnam War, but he was a private, important too, but he brought home some things that had dragons on them and a little neat recorder player that I got. Just some little things that he brought home from there. But he also had spent some time in Korea, and there was some bad things that happened to around that that led to my mother and father divorcing, but I won't talk about that now. To show the video, well, I'm going to have the Vietnam pictures that I saw in Ho Chi Minh and Saigon, and it's a War Remnants Museum, and it's of the Vietnam War when the U.S. left all the military stuff there, and they have remnants of the prisons, the prison that they had, or prisons that they had, and then they got all the remnants of what they was doing in the sky. They was putting Agent Orange and other agents, but that's Agent Orange is the one that we hear about. But there's all kinds of things going in the sky, and if you mention it today, you're likely to get told that you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm so tired of that. I mean, I don't get called all that all the time because I don't go around talking to people about it, but I see it, and I know that it's been around for a long time, back when I did write a lot on the internet, but I don't now because it's not even worth it, But anyway, in the War Remnant Museum, they have three main things. They have they left the tanks and the airplanes and the helicopters and the fighting stuff that they had, and they got those all on display. And then they have the Agent Orange and the other chemical warfare that was used to kill all the plant life and everything so they could get to whatever they was trying to get to. And they had all kinds of disabilities and birth defects and stuff that was really horrible. And I looked up, it was about the same time, I did have a child that was living next to us in the early 70s. He was born with no arms, or he had that. His mother had taken that drug, Thalidomide, or something that begins with a T, and they found out that they were having all kinds of birth defects, and I'm so glad that I wasn't one of them that had that. But you know, it was just terrible, but he had to wear prosthetic arms and stuff like that, and with pinchers on it and everything. But anyway, it seemed like that's the same kind of stuff that was in there that they had at Vietnam. And I think that the chemicals were similar, and that was in that pill that they sprayed, because it had the same defects on it. But it's just a mystery right now. But I put that to get, my mind puts that together. And they had all kinds of things that was about the birth defects and the things that people today, even today, are still suffering from that war. And so it just reminds me of all the, they call them conspiracy theories about the stuff that people are spraying in our air here. But is it really that? I mean, when they're just talking about, they wonder what's up in the sky. Is that really conspiracy theory? Because who has the money to go up in the sky and spray stuff but just the government? I don't know. But I wanted to, I could spend days in that Vietnam War museum that they had, because I like museums. I went to museums when I was a kid, a couple of them that was at the library. They had old time stuff from the pioneers and the Indians and stuff like that. And I could just stare at stuff. I mean, it's like going to an art museum, just to look at the art and the old things that they got. You could create a lot of things in your mind, or you could absorb the energy that you feel from them, but except for the behind the glass. But at the Vietnam War Museum, the Remnant Museum, there was a lot of questions that came to mind. There's books that was there for the Agent Orange and the different things that went on, but we had to scoot along. I was with my son, and he wasn't going to be looking at things as long as I was. So I really could have been there a long time. But anyway, the other thing that they had in there was about the prisons and the treatments that they got, and they were and then the disabilities that the prisoners had when they got out. And I wasn't around all the war things. My mother kept us pretty isolated from all that, and I can be thankful for that, but because I didn't know when I was a child that what was going on. But I have imagined since then, and I've heard and I've read some things. I've read this book here. It's a study that it's about the Korean War and how they set that up, and it's about like what's going on here. It's just chaos everywhere you look. One thing's going on over here, one thing's going on over there, one thing's going on down there, one thing's back there. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to mobilize the population of the United States into, we don't know, you know. We can speculate. That's all we can do is speculate, because, and somebody might be right and somebody might not be right. You know, it's just speculation what they're trying to do. We just are like little, I don't know, but that's what they're trying to do. And then maybe I'll talk about that book sometime. But anyway, I guess I have to look at the things that I got pictures of and do some reading of what the books are here. But I don't think they're, well, I just pray to God and I ask him, you know, if all this stuff happened, it's just, you can't be repeating it again. You know, I know they say history repeats itself, but is there any other way that humans could be sorry for what they've done and turn around without the war? I don't know. But usually there's somebody in charge of the war that's, they call them, well, I don't know, but they're the richest people around. There's only a handful of them, and they manipulate everything that's going on, I guess, you know, because they got the money. But, you know, I'd like to get, because I like to think that we could help each other out and not be so money hungry. But we live in a world that is based on money, then it's going to be money hungry. So I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not going to be preaching anything that's the answer, because I just got to live my life. I mean, I'm going to be 62 this year, and I've been through a lot, and I just am thankful that I got a place that I can have chickens and my cats and my dog, and just go at my own pace right now as far as I can. And I hope it stays that way, and I pray it stays that way. But I'm not going to talk about every picture that I had. I'm just going to show them. And, you know, you could go to the Vietnam War Remnant Museum and see more of this. But this is what I took pictures of when I went on the trip. I'm not war-minded. I would like to see families actually be together. I'd like to see us actually do what we say we believe. If we believe in family, we believe in the upbringing of children, we have to do it, you know. But I guess when everybody gets tired of being in war, we will, because, I mean, there's only a handful of people that orchestrate all this stuff, but they create young people that are so angry that they'll follow anything, and it's a breakdown of the family that causes that, I would think. When the kids separate from their family and they're angry, they follow. And that follows somebody there that takes them. And I guess there's people that are willing to fight to take the kids away, you know, like that. I don't understand it. But anyway, here's the pictures.